Welcome back to the In Between Sets podcast. I'm your host, Kaitlin.
And I'm Abigail.
And that's Abigail, and I'm Kaitlin. Today,
Caitlin, Abigail.
We almost switched it up on you guys.
Did.
And we were thinking, should we switch it up? Should we surprise them? I was like, no, most of these people listen. They probably don't watch. Until our YouTube gets like higher views, maybe we'll do something like that. Today's episode is going to be a dum marine tell all. I'm just kidding. I don't know what else to call it. A recruiting tell all. How about that? Maybe not questions like, hey, are aliens real? Do you know?
Yeah.
I know she doesn't look like it, but she is done.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Because your hair is in.
I did previously commit to commissioning somebody, so
I know she rolled up. I was like, "Oh, we're going with the slick back on today, huh?"
You miss it that much, don't you?
Yeah, you miss it, huh? Yeah, she's got somewhere to be today to commission somebody in Austin, right?
Yeah,
the capital. Anyway, so we're gonna dive into recruiting horror stories.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. No, it's gonna be like just kind of what her experience was like. She didn't
maybe some horror stories.
She didn't love it, so she didn't love her job. Yeah. But first, I wanted to ask. Let
me clarify. Go
for
quick.
it. Yeah,
we're able to do this now because I'm officially done.
Yeah.
So
she doesn't.
We should have done it.
She don't owe anybody nothing.
I don't owe you nothing.
Yeah.
We should have done a question box. I didn't even think about that.
Oh yeah.
I should have done one because
should we even do this? Should we even do this episode?
We're done. Goodbye.
We're done. Bye. See you next time.
We'll do it, and then like I'll put one up later.
Yeah.
And then if people have questions, like stories. We'll just sprinkle them in, like funny ones. Anyway.
Okay. So my first question. Are aliens real? What do you know about Area 59 or 52 or whatever it is?
What really happened?
Yeah, tell me what really like I'm acting like Abigail has all these government secrets.
Exactly. And what's funny is though I have had friends be like, wait, so what do you think about this? And I'm like,
yeah.
Why would I know that?
Yeah.
Do you know how unimportant I was in the Marine Corps?
So what's the juiciest secret you can tell us?
Juiciest secret,
or maybe like
in regards to recruiting.
Sure. No, I want to know national top level secrets.
All the secrets. Yeah, I wish I knew those.
Abigail's like, Kaitlin, that's not what I did for 7 years or whatever.
Was not intel. Don't know any of that kind of stuff.
Okay, recruiting or Marines or whatever's like the juiciest secret.
Juiciest secret,
or what we would not think of. Also, she didn't prep any of these. We didn't prep any of this. This is all on the fly.
Yeah, this is on the fly. So sorry if it takes me a second to because I'm like, okay, this is kind of a secret. Blah blah blah. I would say so. I have to give a little bit of a backstory.
Love backstories.
Only because the people might not know.
Okay,
all for the people.
Yeah.
Anyway, not a recruiter by trade. Got selected to be a recruiter in Texas in the Marine Corps. There's enlisted recruiters, so like directly out of high school. And then there's also officer recruiters, otherwise known as OSOs, which is what I was.
Right.
Meaning we go to colleges and post-college, so like graduates, to recruit them to be officers. Separate from ROTC, separate from like academies.
Okay.
So like same concept, right? End game's the same. You're like an officer, but we just do it a little bit differently than other branches. So sometimes people are like, wait, you did what? Like, what is that? Anyway, you're forced into it. You're not like, it's not like I was like, hey, let me do this job, you know? So you're taken out of your job, told to go in whatever specific location. I covered 80,000 square miles in like the Fort Worth area. And told pretty much execute. Go find these specific, very specific individuals.
Right.
Back in my day, DEI was a thing, so the contracts were even more specific than they are currently. So anyway, that's like summary, very simple black and white version
of
like
what you did,
what it was, right?
Yeah.
So like on the outside, it looks like pretty easy, but it is. I like joke and tell people all the time that like I shot artillery and like watched 19-year-olds like pull the lanyard on like rounds that could kill people, and recruiting was more stressful than that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of numbers you got to hit, and it's like fishing for like a needle in a haystack sometimes.
Yeah, because like you have to get lawyers, you'd have to get women, you'd have to get people of color, right? Or like, you know, you just had specific things you had to hit.
Correct.
So
often advertised as goals.
Yes.
To the OSOs, they are requirements.
Yes.
That's probably one of the things is that people probably don't think of it. People probably don't think that like, oh, there was a mission for like Hispanic, white, female, all of these types of things, and like that was something that we had to do. So that was kind of a secret. But I forgot what the original question was. I just wanted to.
What's your biggest top secret? Of recruiting?
Top secret.
Or maybe just something
you wouldn't think of, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do this one because not necessarily my secret, but probably like applicant secrets. So in the Marine Corps, different from other branches as well, you can quit this program. So like you can sign a contract, go ship to training, and you can quit for like any reason. It's called like DORing, drop on request. So you're not like actually bound to anything. If you do, the OSO's kind of held accountable. However, like when people are like, I don't know if I want to commit, blah, blah, blah. Like sometimes it's kind of like a way to get them there. Like, well, you can quit, you know? But so many freaking times, because we have like a Instagram account, right? Like some people might not know that, but like I ran the account, you know? So it's like I
recently unfollowed it because I was like, well, Abigail doesn't run anymore. So I was like, don't need to follow Fort Worth Marine recruiting.
Anyway, and so it would be really funny. Like we would send applicants and like I know because I get the report, like, and I get the statement that they make of like why they're quitting or whatever. And then they'll like come back and be like, oh, I got hurt because of like this and that, or like you know, the drill instructors did X, Y, and Z, or this and that. And I'm like, you quit, dude. You literally like were just too weak. You quit. And like there would be so many times. The civilian that worked in my office, his name's Billy, a great friend of mine now. But him and I would like joke all the time of like, I just want to go on, because you always have to write a statement on like the Instagram page and post every single person that quits statement of like, this is why they, you know,
like
this
shame them,
yeah, shame
like,
you,
humiliate them.
You went home and you told your boss like you quit. I mean, you got hurt or this happened. Like, no, you didn't. You literally just quit.
Yeah.
There's like a group, and I'll be honest, like females are the specific ones that usually do it. Everyone knows them out too, but like, man, they would come up like, I just think of this one girl that I would still see like a year after, she's still posting like these woe is me, like this happened, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you didn't even start training. You showed up and quit.
Yeah.
Like, you big fat liar. And you just have to like keep your mouth shut.
Can we talk about the girl that I've heard when I lived with you? I heard the wildest stories about like when people would just like ghost you, or when people would like, the one girl that like just left like fled the airport.
Yes. Like,
can you just briefly summarize that interaction?
Yeah, so many.
Because that was so wild to me.
Like, why go?
Yeah.
Because I was a very like, I mean, I guess it kind of worked out for me. Like, I didn't do horrible in recruiting. I wasn't like the best by any means, but like,
great.
I didn't sugarcoat it. Like, I would tell them, like, if you're not gonna go or you don't want to go, just like save me the trouble. Like, don't go. So there was like one applicant that I have. I should just like say names, but I'm not going to. Anyway.
Expose.
Had a lot going on in her defense or whatever. The issue I had was I gave her so many outs of like, just tell me you don't want to go,
right?
And totally fine, would totally understand that, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. Like, no, I'm gonna do it, like this is all I want, blah blah blah. Mind you, like, wasn't a stud to begin with.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, you were a girl and I needed a girl,
right?
Anyway, no, I'm gonna do it. Gets on the airplane. So like different on the officer side, if you're familiar with recruiting, like the officers don't ship from MEPS, so they don't like go up to medical, blah blah blah, and then all ship together. Like they're all spread to the wind. So like they get a plane ticket, or they can choose to drive, and they like drive over there. They check into training themselves. Like I don't have to go with them by any means.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so they like report like, hey, I'm at the airport, or hey, I'm at this place, like letting me know that they're like en route to training. Anyway, so this girl gets all the way to Virginia, like got on the airplane.
Oh, she like left.
Flies.
Yeah, flies.
To Virginia, and then just leaves. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Blah, blah, blah. This kind of stuff. Like, I'm like trying to talk her back into it. Just leaves the airport. And I'm like,
yeah.
I got parents calling me. I got district calling me. I got the Marine Corps calling me. Like, where's this girl? I'm like, at the end of the day, she's 18. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
She gone.
She gone.
Like,
gotta run her.
So many, yeah, we gotta run her.
Gotta run her.
And like we, as OSOs, so like we're all like in little districts. So there was like 10 in my district. We obviously have a group chat, and one of the girls started a OSO bingo card, and we would just start adding the things that like happened on there, like got told, because people like tell you intimate secrets and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we would just like have the most I should pull up that bingo card and read some of them, but one of them was like, had an applicant flee the airport. I'm like,
dude, when you told me that, like, and her dad was like calling you and stuff, and like you're like, at the end of the day, she's 18. I don't have to like, she can just stop.
She can just go. That is something I wish was different. Like,
yeah,
you sign a contract, you should be bound to the contract.
Well, that's a contract.
Like, obviously it's I don't want you if you don't want to be here type of mentality, but like, golly, it made my life a pain.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have people go complete all of training and then come back and be like, I changed my mind. Like, for what?
Yeah.
Anyway.
What is like maybe we talk about like studs, because you'd come home sometimes and you'd be like, dude, I got this one who is like a lawyer. They're this, they can run a specific amount. Like, you know, just like you were. So talk to me about like maybe like the studliest. What made them a stud? Yeah.
I will say the amount that I'd be like, oh, this person was a stud compared to the ones that weren't.
Sure, yeah.
About night and day.
Yeah.
But I do have my list. I mean, we all got favorites. I don't care what you say. Like, there's anyway. Some people are what we call submission missions, meaning like I need you, but like I'm really hoping you don't make it type of thing. And then there's others that were like, no, this person has to freaking do this. Like, they would be awesome. And I would say like, yeah, there were like quantitative things that would make them like quote unquote like studs on paper. So like 4.0 GPA and like, you know, can run really fast and do a lot of pull-ups and like things like that. But it was always to me like, you didn't have to be like the fastest runner, but like decent, to where I didn't have to like, I'm of the opinion that if you're below the age of 30, like 18 to 30, you should be able to run the minimum standards.
What is the minimum standards? So what's like, the minimum standards athletically that they have to be able to pass?
Right. For girls, 3 pull-ups, 27-minute 3-mile run, so 9-minute miles, and plank. I can't remember the minimum plank. And then guys, 10 pull-ups, 24-minute run, and then a plank. Those are like the minimums. So like, I'm of the opinion that like, why are you walking into my office and you literally can't do the minimums?
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe you struggle, like you got like 1 pull up, you need some help there, you never done it before or something like that. But like, you're legit like failing. Like, me and Billy would always talk. We're like, you really walked in here thinking I could do what you do.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of insulting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like, again, you need a little improvement. I totally get. Like, was not the perfect applicant. But like, okay, you're 50 pounds overweight and you can't. Why are you? Anyway, okay, sorry. Besides the point. But
back on track. Reeling her back in.
Yeah. So
the beefiest of them all.
The studs, not necessarily like, 30 pull-ups, 19-minute 3-mile run like that. Yeah. But like, I don't have to worry about you. I know that you're gonna like work out on your own. You're gonna follow the plan that I give you.
Yeah.
But it was most of the time it was a personality thing. And I would always say, like, I can't want it more than you want it. Like, you're trying to be me. You're trying to be me. So, like, why am I reaching out to you to turn in like the stupidest piece of paper and like all this kind of stuff. So I like think back to like when I was doing it, and it was like my recruiter would tell me to do something and I would just do it. Like, I want your job. It's like a job interview.
Right.
And people would think of it like a backup plan. And so like you would have to like chase them down to like turn in a birth certificate. And you're like,
yeah,
but I thought you wanted to do this. Why am I working harder for you to get here than you're working? So like the studs were like the people that like thought of it that way. Like, I'm going to do the things you tell me to. I'm going to be in the office. I'm going to do like X, Y, and Z. And like all those people, they probably know who they are because I would bust my behind for them. Like they needed something done. Like I was going to get it done. They needed like they needed these things. Like,
can you share the story about the guy that was a stud but had kind of like a record?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'll, just because of like him being in and stuff, I'll keep his name out. But yeah, awesome. Like there's certain things that require waivers, right? So like moral waivers, academic waivers, medical waivers, all these different things that like you might not be like 100% perfect, but you know, your positives outweigh your negatives type of thing. Still requires us to like get permission, but like again, your positives outweigh those things. So I had an individual like that, like Briar Marine, but
like he had served already.
Yeah. Got into some trouble. But like from the interactions
also,
that I had.
I don't know a Marine that hasn't gotten into trouble. There's
or
just
a college student.
There's just some that get caught.
Like, come on now. Some get caught, some don't. That was my main thing with him. Is like things he did was not that bad. And like, anyway, besides the point.
Yeah.
But man, just a good, like the person that you're like, if I was in war, I need that guy by my side.
Yeah, if I was in combat, I would want this person with
and I don't
me.
think he listens to this, but if he does, like I'm gonna be annoyed because you still suck. But anyway, no. So just like an awesome dude, but nobody would approve his freaking waivers.
Yeah.
And it was like the strangest thing to me because I had similar waivers get approved before, blah, blah, blah. Like there's all this red tape. I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done. Like I had him enroll in a class in a different state so that he could try and like get in with a different general who would approve his waiver.
Oh man.
I was just like trying to work every red tape, got yelled at a bunch of times for like
Abigail can't do that.
The chain of people to approve it, or like, you know, like, oh, you're not
Captain
allowed to
Wall.
call the general. I'm like, I'm going to call for this guy type of thing. So it's like, dude, I will get myself in trouble for you if I really think that like you're good. I mean, it burned me a couple times, but like.
And also if you're like showing up and doing your job, like that's the kind of person that you are, is you're like, I'll fight as hard as you're fighting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if I think that you're going to go out and like be a person that I would want my Marines to like to take my Marine, like I'm going to fight for you.
Yeah.
But it's like it was just so frustrating because it was always those people, like the ones that I'm like, this person needs to be in that, you know, the politics of the Marine Corps would be like, they're not good. But then you got this like so wildly mediocre person that they're like, yep, take that person.
Yeah.
And that was like I think the politics was like the most frustrating thing. Where it's like, dude, you chose me to be an officer selection officer. And you're not letting me select these individuals. Like, I don't get anything out of this. If I tell you they're good, like, believe me. Why am I here if not? You pick them.
Yeah.
So that was like always my qualm, if you will, with like
your biggest frustration was the politics part.
Yeah, the politics part and like the
the government and
like
politics.
The higher you go up, it was just like very obvious, and I'm like, you don't actually care, like you just want to move up type of thing. Whereas like I was the exact opposite of like, I don't care. Yeah. You know, like I'm just trying to do right by these individuals.
Right.
And it would be like just some people like, oh, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Like I'm out here grinding.
I think one of like maybe a common misconception for me, other than having been married to someone in the Navy and then you being in the Navy, like people I think that you probably have people just lined up to recruit, you know, like lined out the door, or like, you know, just like people always coming in like, okay, I'm ready to I want to be recruited up. Like, and would you say that that's just not the case? Or like when you go to these things in different colleges, like, cause I know that you'd have to go to like Charlton, you'd have to go within like your 80,000 or 70,000 mile radius, whatever it is. But like, you know, I go to Baylor and then like, would you have a bunch of people like come up to you and be like, I want to sign up for the Marines?
Yeah, I would say like patriotism and like that kind of stuff in Texas is like more prominent than maybe like LA or like something like that. So probably more than those individuals. Like you could literally interview like my peer in a different state and they might have a completely different experience than me, right? But in general, like Texas is very like patriotic and like service oriented and things like that, but it's by no means what it was in like the early 2000s.
Sure.
And I would say like it's not that people weren't interested, it's that they weren't qualified. And so like there was a very clear thing that happened after COVID that just made everybody like, you know, significant drop in like physical fitness standards, significant drop in test scores because they weren't required to take like SAT, ACT, medical stuff, like all this like influx of like Adderall and antidepressants and like all of these different things that like, you know, until you're deciding, okay, I want to join, like you don't think about, and it's like all those things affect. So like, again, me and Billy used to joke all the time, like there's like a million people that want to join and none of them are qualified.
Yeah.
So
what are some of the most like the qualifications, like you say, like the antidepressants, and you say like that kind of stuff, is that keeping them from getting in because like they have quote unquote like mental health issues? So
it's not necessarily like you struggled with mental health like one time type of thing. It's more of like again, a lot of things are like the whole picture. That was another thing that was like super frustrating, is there's very much so inconsistencies in like this person would get approved and this person wouldn't, and you're like trying to tell the individual like I don't know why yours wasn't. I'm trying my best over here, but it would be like the individual that tried a million different things and none of them worked, and then they just got off everything, and you can't justify that to somebody of like, they're mentally stable to come because they have like 97 different medications on, and then all of a sudden they're fine and they got completely off of it. So it's like, I always tell people like, there's nothing wrong with getting help and like getting medication or whatever, but like understand the repercussions like down the road of, if you can handle this through like counseling or this or that, like go that route. That way it doesn't close the doors for you in other things. And then I think it was that was a big one. And then the second one was like the physical fitness side of things. Like people are just not in the same level of shape. And I hate being like this generation. But again, like the, I guess like the entry level. So the individual walking in the door, not to say they couldn't get where they needed to be, but like, man, people would just come in, walk into the doors just like so unbelievably out of shape, as if this was like, I would always joke and be like, do you think I'm paid to be a personal trainer? Mind you, I happen to be one, so it kind of worked out. But like, that is not what I get paid to do. Like, it's not my job to get you in shape. Like, show up in shape here. Right. Yeah. You're trying to be me. So like, come in they would come in like sweats and like out of shape. And I'm like, well, this is a job interview. Like, are you joking right now? So yes, lots of people interested, not a lot of people qualified. Gotcha. And I think there's like the whole stereotype of, you know, Marines are dumb and crayon eaters and all that kind of stuff, which Sure, yes. But our standards are like the highest. So like test scores highest, PT standards the highest. Like that stuff is very high. And so people are like always very surprised by that, especially parents. I almost sent you a picture the other day. I was driving home from like, I don't know, somewhere. But I passed an Air Force recruiting office, like, and I almost sent you a picture and be like, should I go in? Should I walk in? Should I YOLO? Should I just completely blow up my life to go do this and, you know, whatever? And I'm like 34. Like, I'm probably out of... Too old. I'm too old. They're probably like, please get out. Great shape. Get out. Like... I also, speaking of that, though, that's the other thing that, like, I have no skin in the game now. Like, I don't care. But, like, obviously recruiters have, like, the... kind of the stereotype of, like, they're trying to sell you on doing this type of thing, which to some extent is true. Right. I do need you, but like, I don't anymore. I don't care. So this is like, honest to God, what would happen at a minimum of 5 times a week. So like once a day, we would get a call from somebody who was too old. Like, hey, I really wanted to do this, but like, I just wanted to see if it was too late and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, it is too late. Yeah. And so like I would try to like tell people who would like come in and talk, but they like weren't ready to commit this and that. Like, dude, you can be a banker at 40.
Right.
You cannot join the Marine Corps.
Ooh, what a good selling point.
I know. Right? Like, man, put me back in. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But it's like, they always do that. And so I'm like, you're going to be that. You saw my story the other day about the MRF with the...
Yes.
Like, oh, I could have joined, but blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I think back to like every applicant that like came through and quit. I'm like, you were going to be the person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I joined, but you know, I just... The drill instructor's this. Like,
right.
Didn't treat me. I'm like, yeah, okay, dude.
Yeah.
If only.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What I want to talk for like a brief second about like the female stigma around, because I feel like, I mean, you are a badass. We're a badass in the Marines. You shot cannons. That's what I like to tell all my friends. I'm like, she shot cannons in the Marines. Like she like, you know, loaded up missiles and stuff.
Dude, I have a friend also named Kate.
Mm-hmm.
You met other Kate, right?
Maybe.
Awesome.
Maybe.
Canadian. She loves when I do that.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway,
yeah.
Dude, she's hilarious. Like one of the funniest people I've ever met. Anyway, she would like she told her husband forever that I was like a sniper because she didn't know. And so like I would come back and I'm like, oh yeah, I heard you were a sniper. Isn't that so cool? Blah blah blah. I was like, that is not at all what I did. And so like she would like be talking to people like no idea and be like, okay, she was an American sniper. I'm like, real quick, no, I was not. But also funny. She's like, well, I don't really know. Like
literally,
blah, blah, blah. You did something cool, right? And
yeah,
I'm like,
literally,
not that.
Yeah.
But yes. Anyway.
But I just wanted to touch like a little bit on like the female side of things that we've talked about. I think the first episode or maybe the second. I don't remember.
Maybe yeah.
But like what did you kind of notice about the stigma as like females coming to you, wanting to be a Marine? Like,
yeah. First of all, like, is so biased because I am a female.
Right.
We kind of joke and say we eat our own.
Yeah.
Man, they're the worst applicants ever.
Females?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you're a part of the problem.
You're right. Yeah.
Stigma, though. So typically, at least from my experience, they were the most out of shape. So, like, they just required a lot more.
You should join Beefy Babes Club.
Yeah, they all should. I should have plugged that. No, I should start a program now. Be like, always required a lot of like extra help in the fitness capacity, which I get. Like pull-ups, not every female, all this kind of stuff. But it's just like, it just made it more annoying to work because it was just like constant. And then on top of that, they have like more emotions. They have more things that like tie in, right? So like a girl wants to join and she's like 20 and dating somebody, like her significant other is a lot more hesitant and she is a lot more influenced. I'm not saying everybody, don't come at me, but like this is my experience and I'm a female.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones that are getting ultimatums of like me or this.
Right.
They're the ones that are influenced by this. They're the ones that like, I don't want my baby girl to go and get killed or raped or this or that, blah, blah, blah. So they just have like a ton more outside influences. They're typically a lot more out of shape. More often than not, don't have to struggle with like communication and don't have to struggle with like the school side of things. I didn't really see that. But it was like those two things. And so it just made it like super frustrating to like, it was just like all my effort would go towards those individuals. I'm like, but you want to do this. You don't want to be treated differently. You want to be treated the same. But like, I have to put all my time into you. Like, do we see this doubles? And that's like kind of what I see across. That's like my biggest qualm with like not a lot, but some females in the military where it's like this double standard of like, you want everything to be equal and you want all the same opportunities and you want the same uniforms and you want this, but like, but you don't want the same PT standard.
Right.
And you don't want this to be the same and you don't want this to be the same, but like all the things, so it was just like that double standard that was, and so that's what I would tell the girls that like, and the ones that have been successful, most of them I keep up with now. Yeah. And they don't have that attitude. And that's why they're successful. Cause like their PT becomes their responsibility. Like they're able to like handle their emotions. They're not like looking for a way to be offended. Like all this kind of stuff. There's just like this little weird chip on the shoulder that some people have. And I'm like, just let it go, dude. Like just let it go.
lastly, I want to ask like what you would change being outside now. Like what if you could, I don't want to say like give advice to like the people, the head recruiters, the generals or whatever, you know, like
speaking of the commandant.
Yeah, like what would you change being out now? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm asking?
Man, I could go on a long list of things.
Yeah.
I'll give a few on like the recruiter side and then a few on the like recruit side. On like the actual like politics of recruiting side of things. I don't think we're going to get away with like diversity and DI and like things like that. But I'm like, have always been of the opinion of like the most qualified should get the position type of thing. Like we advertise this like competitive selection board and like this and that. And like, I don't care what people say, like it wasn't that way. If you fit a thing, a billet or a description that they need, like we always said, like, same, model essentially.
Yeah.
Type size model type of thing.
Yeah.
Like you were going to get the position over somebody that maybe didn't necessarily, they didn't need that. And like, it's like reverse discrimination. So that like really bothered me. And I watched people that like deserved to go, not go, and people that didn't necessarily deserve to go. And there's a lot of like broken links in the chain that got to that point. But like, I just wish that like that was something that they cared less about. And then the Marine Corps, I think, does this in general, but specifically on recruiting, like they make it harder on themselves. Like there's all these like systems and policies in place to like streamline things, and we get in our own way. Like for example, this was like the bane of my existence.
Right.
Let's say somebody was 30 years old, technically over 29, technically over the age limit to get whatever.
To start their career.
Career. You can get an age waiver though. Somewhat common.
Yeah.
Not only do I have to write the waiver, my boss one level up, who the person in charge is a colonel, has to approve that waiver. Then it has to go, goes to a major first who has to approve it. Then a colonel that has to approve it. And then one general up at the next level. And then a second general to approve this waiver. So you're telling me that a board selected captain, a board selected major, a board selected colonel, and 2 generals have to approve because this individual is 30 years old.
Yeah.
And guess what? Every single one of them got approved.
Yeah.
In my experience.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, and it's tedious. So like that one thing would take so much of my time. And I'm like, what happened to like trusting junior officers and like junior enlisted Marines with like,
why are there so many boxes to check?
Why is there so many things? And like, it almost always got done. It just took way longer, took way more of my time. And I'm like, this is not where I need to be putting my energy in right now.
Right.
And their like excuse would always be like, well, find somebody who's qualified that doesn't need a waiver. And my thing would always be like, come down to the streets.
Yeah.
You find the person.
Right.
Then, you know, like,
shit.
So like all the policies and things in place where it's like, people would just be too scared to like ask why. Like the status quo, like this is how we've always done it. This is how we're going to do it. And I'm like, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It literally doesn't make sense. So why are we doing, well, you know, I don't want to go and ask permission to do this. I'm like, go ask.
Yeah.
Why is a captain having to tell you, like, grow up, go ask the question. This doesn't make sense.
How old are you?
That side of things was like just so freaking frustrating. I wish I had all 10 of my peers to like talk about that.
Yeah.
Just the nuances of that.
Right.
And reminder that like all of that on our end of things was to give people the opportunity to go on a selection board, to potentially get selected, to potentially attend officer candidate school, to potentially graduate.
Right.
So there were so many potentials that I'm like, again, this is just to give them a chance.
Yeah.
Like, let OSEA...
They'll probably fail anyway at some point.
Come on.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
So, but seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that would be like the biggest change I had there. And then like on the recruit side, which obviously like I can't be 18 million people, but like maybe one day a freaking person that wants to join will listen. So I'll just say, like, it's a job interview. Like, you're trying to join, like, the elite fighting force that's protecting America.
Right.
And, like, you talk to parents and they're like, what's their backup plan? I'm like, oh, that's who you want protecting your ability to say that? Somebody that chose this as their backup plan?
Right.
Like, let's, like, empower people to, like, serve. Like, how about, like, what can I do to serve? Not, like, what can I get out of the country? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a little bit of that. And it's not for everybody. It's not. That's why it's 1%, But, like, that was just, like, a huge frustration I always have. Like, number one, that's, like, super offensive.
Yeah.
And, like, number two, like, why can't you support? Why aren't you, like, just as proud that they want to do that versus, like, go be on Wall Street? Like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, don't let it, if it's what you want to do, like, who cares? Like, why is it it doesn't have to be your backup plan. And, like, the people that it is their backup plan, you ain't gonna make it anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You're not gonna qualify. Like, I guess, like, the audacity.
Sure.
The audacity where
Where
people are
do
like,
they find it?
If I can't do this and this, then I'm gonna join. I'm like, you're not good enough anyway. That's what I, like, wanted to say, like.
Aha, joke's on you. You actually suck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, before we end the episode, what is one great thing that you enjoyed about recruiting?
The great thing about recruiting is the same as, like, the great thing about the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Is, like, the people.
Yeah.
Like, I will complain and whine about, like, district all day because I don't care for them. But, like, my office, my people,
right?
Like, we would always say, like, protect the house. Like,
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'll probably still talk to Billy 20 years from now. Like,
sure,
he was awesome. Like, the other OSOs, like the other captains that are, like, grinding with you, like, it's like what do they call that? Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, like, trauma
you guys
bonding.
Trauma bonding. You guys
like,
are in it together.
Bonding.
Yeah.
And, like, the people, they're, like, unlike anybody you'll ever meet. Like, I'll be friends with them hopefully forever.
For sure.
And that's, like, irreplaceable. I mean, like, you can't replace that. So
yeah, the
people are freaking amazing, even though the recruits and poolies and all the other stuff might not be, like, so yeah, we've had good times and, like, funny times, conferences, like, where you just get to do, like, wild things just for no reason and that kind of stuff, like, super fun. So.
Is there anything you're gonna miss about it, or no? Is it just like, man, I'm so glad to be outside our bitches?
Yeah.
I guess just the people.
Just the people. Yeah. Like, in the Marine, like, yeah, like, there's definitely things that, like, you miss. Like, will I miss going to colleges and, like, trying to sell the Marine Corps to kids that I don't think should do it? Like,
yeah, no.
Full transparency.
Yeah.
But, like, the people that I did, like, the group of, I could probably name 10 of, like, kids that I'm like, dude, you guys are going to crush it. Like,
you
super
made it
proud
worth
of
it.
You. Like,
yeah.
You made it worth it. I've told some of them that, and, like, the guy I'm going to commission today, like,
yeah,
like, that's cool to, like, know you had some sort of, like, impact on their, like, future career. That's cool.
Yeah.
The rest of them, like, it was just a job.
Yeah.
Which is maybe sad, but, there's a group of people that I'm like, okay, like, I'm glad I was able to help you, type of thing.
Right.
So.
Well, I know that you made an impact on their lives, and I know you made an impact in the Marines. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
But on to better things.
On to different things.
On to different things now.
Yeah.
Your time is done. You did great. Like, I know you're really proud of the time that you put in, not just recruiting, but also as a Marine.
Yeah.
Once Marine, always Marine. What do you guys say?
That.
Oorah.
Shut
Oorah.
up.
I'm just kidding. But anyway, do you want to end on anything else?
No, I mean, if you do have
questions,
super niche questions, or want a specific funny story, I probably got 8 million of them. So
yeah, this episode could probably be 2 hours long.
100%.
So, yeah.
But
we wanted to keep it brief, but also like enough to keep it juicy. We'll probably do a question box where you can ask all the other questions we'll post on the story.
Yeah, maybe like
sprinkle them in
and tell funny stories or whatever. But yeah, that's it.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Okay. Subscribe, share with your mom.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Bye.